So what excites me is to create something that doesn't exist and to create a company from an idea. That's extremely exciting.
Hello and welcome to the Modern Hotelier presented by Stay Flexi, your all-in-one modern operating system for independent hotels. Each episode will get to know an industry expert and we'll discuss the latest trends in hospitality to help you, the Modern Hotelier. Welcome to the Modern Hotelier presented by Stay Flexi. I'm your host, David.
And I'm Steve.Carran.
Steve, who's on the show today?
Yeah, David, today we have on Richie Karaburun. He is the clinical assistant professor at NYU, and he's also the director at the Tisch Center of Hospitality Innovation Hub. Welcome to the show, Richie.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Awesome. Well, we're happy to have you. I'd love to get a little background about how you got involved at NYU, and how did you get into teaching?
That's a good question. I'm originally from Turkey, and I moved to United States about 30 years ago. And I started as a management trainee in Los Angeles in one of the tour operator. And I was in the industry for more than 25 years in different roles and managing travel companies. 7 years or about 8 years ago, I was a guest lecturer in one of the NYU classes, and I loved it so much. And I started teaching as part-time, what we call as adjunct professorship. And about 5-6 years ago, I've decided to pursue my PhD, my doctoral degree in marketing. And then the full-time role actually was open. I applied, and now about 6 years, I've been a full-time professor at NYU Tisch Center and Hospitality School, predominantly teach business development, entrepreneurship, and destination marketing classes.
Awesome.
Can you tell us more about the innovation hub and the incubator and what's going on there? And I've been fortunate enough to be involved in two of the first pitches, but give us a little bit more insight into what goes on with that.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you. First of all, David, being one of our mentor in our club. So about 2 years ago, this is idea father, our dean, Dr. Nicholas Graff, was able to fund a nice funding. So most of the schools within NYU have their own incubator and innovation hub. And we didn't have one under hospitality. So we've actually we created an innovation hub, experiential learning center, as well as an incubator program where I'm actually the director. Our first cohort was last fall. This is open to all NYU students and our alumni as well, as long as their idea solves a hospitality problem. Because we have an we are under hospitality school, there are two conditions. So one, you have to be affiliated with NYU, whether a current student or a past student, or you have to have an idea that actually solves any hospitality problems. So we had great applications, and I created a mentors and investors club, and David, you are part of it. All the executives and the veterans in the hospitality industry, venture capitalists. So we have about 35 members of mentors and investors club members. And we've started applications. So application process, we currently have 2 cohorts for fall semester and a spring semester. So we completed our second semester, spring semester, where we had great applicants. And then our mentors in Investors Club select the winners. We generally get 5 or 6 companies or ideas or teams for each semester for our incubator program, where we match them with the mentors and investors. So about 3 months, they do several meetings, and the mentors like David actually are giving them ideas. So they're actually preparing them for our pitch day at the end of each semester. So those applicants, 5 or 6 companies, they do a pitch day similar to Shark Tank structure, where they have about 8 minutes presentations. And then again, Dean Graff and I were completely out of it because they're our students, so we need to be completely neutral. So our mentors and investors club members, they actually select the winner. And the winner gets $5,000, and the second and third place get $2,500. And they actually learn a lot from our mentors and investors club. And this has been very successful. So we've just completed our second cohort where we had great ideas. And I know several of investors are already talking to some of the companies from the first cohort as well as the second cohort. And then at the end of August, I'm going to be opening the applications for fall 2022, which is going to be our third cohort for the Incubator program. So we're very excited about this. And finally, because we are, as it says, School of Professional Studies, applicability counts. So then whatever we teach them in entrepreneurship classes, they're able to actually apply, and they create an company from an idea. And this has been very helpful for all of our students and our mentors and investors. They really love the experience, and they're able to actually share their industry experience with our students. And so we are very lucky to have great mentors and investors club under this program.
And you said the process takes it's a whole semester?
Yeah, we
Is that how
actually,
long it takes?
yeah, it is a 3 months program. There are some schools that have twice a year, 6 months program. There are some schools have
Mhm.
3 months program, and including, three different cohorts within a year. We do not do
Sure.
summer sessions because we know the mentors and investors are already busy and the vacation times. So we've decided to do this in twice a year, one in fall semester, one in spring semester. So that actually goes very well. And we have to be
Sure.
mindful of our mentors and investors club because they are doing it completely voluntarily, and they're not getting paid, and they do this for the goodness of their
Right.
hearts. So we are very, very appreciative of our mentors and investors club. So yes, we do that at 3 months program. So then within 3 months, they are actually meeting with once or twice a week, a month. And then they actually arrange the calls, and we are in contact. So they're really preparing them to the final step, which is the pitch day,
Sure.
where they actually choose the winners.
David, maybe you can talk about this as well. What goes into that mentorship of these, of the participants?
Yeah, I think for me, I try to take it from the startups I've had and try to look at how they position their company. Do they know what the competitors are? Have they built out a model to show how they're going to get to profitability? If they raise money, how are they going to use those funds? And then also just making sure that it's professional. It's no knock on some of the students, but some, the age ranges vary too from the people that are participating. Some have already been in business. Some are really just in school or just haven't really had real full-time jobs. So I think the mentoring really just helps, take that look. What have I learned from having companies run companies and going out and trying to raise capital? Because all these companies, they're really early, seed needing to raise capital. They're not, they haven't been at this. So for me, it's been great because it's always good to kind of be able to help young people. I didn't have that when I started my company. So we had to go out and figure out and hire advisors. I didn't have any means to just get some free advice. So I think it's been mutually, beneficial for both parties.
And Richie, I'm sorry, I don't mean to hijack this, David. But you mentioned it's hospitality companies that are involved in this. Are there any specific types of companies inside of hospitality? Is it technology? Is it retail? What type of companies are all coming in here?
Hospitality, good old days, whenever we say hospitality, it used to be only hotels, right? So, and now it changed, right? So now in the year 2022, when we talk about hospitality, that actually includes anything tourism related, hotels, alternative accommodation, food and beverage, hospitality technology, even alternative accommodations. We had ideas like Camp Snack. So it just really, it's all anything. And that's what I love it, right? Everything can be related to hospitality. And because we have a very broad definition. So Andrea's company is a drinks company. So food and beverage is a big part of it. And we have a last cohort's winner was Cantor Ramen, which is actually kind of a ramen place where you can actually a vending machine for a ramen food. So you can get your hot ramen in 45 minutes. So this is also, and it's great for the, hotels. It's great for the campuses. So it just really, we have anything with the go gigs, like kind of like Uber of housekeeping services. So it's just really very broad, anywhere from the hospitality technology, specifically food and beverage, alternative accommodation, and we haven't had any types of cruise businesses or airlines. So we're really open because it's a whole stakeholder business within hospitality is very large. So I am really looking forward to seeing new ideas for our next fall 2022 cohort.
So we've had two winners so far. What do you think when you look at those winners? Are there some common traits with the presentations or the go-to-market strategy? And what do you think personally, if you were talking to someone or a company or a founder who was looking to join and be part of the next the fall session, what type of traits do you think are common amongst winners?
You mentioned, David, in the beginning is professionalism, right? Some of
Yeah.
our participants are so young, right?
Right.
This is just their idea. Some they really worked on it. Now, some of our students are coming straight from the classes, from entrepreneurship or design thinking classes, and prepare that. Some they're further along, and then they really know the business. There's two common denominator is one, it's a passion. They really believe in it. They actually did the prototypes and everything. It's a little advanced than the others, and they know the business. They actually also, what I'm hearing from the mentors is that those two winners, they really know how to use their resources very well. They are prepared for the meetings before the mentors and investors meeting. They know how to network, they know how to work, and they really follow the directions from the mentors.
Right.
And that really completes, and they're committed fully rather than having just a side job or side project. So that's basically it: commitment, passion, and ability to use your resources. I would say those three skill sets that they differentiate them. And at the end, those are two clear winners based on the evaluation on the pitch days. And we have those videos as well. So we actually always videotape that so that people can actually see the differences in the presentations, as David says, from professionalism to actually delivering the ideas on time, which they only have 8 minutes.
Yeah, and I'll say my experience in the last pitch, unfortunately, the woman I was helping with the local hotel didn't win, but I did feel that from the first meeting to even the pitch, she was much more buttoned up, defined. She had everything thought out much better from early on to when she pitched. Again, she didn't win, but I did think that I'll say that, and maybe it was also the mentors their second time around, but it felt like the pitches this last time were much not better, but they were more well defined than the first round. That was just my observation.
No, you're right, right? I mean, again, this is a phenomenal opportunity, right, for all our students.
Sure.
Whether they win or not, they're already winners. As soon as they are able to get into our incubator program, they're the winners. To be able
Yeah.
to talk to people like you, David, or people like from Google or from venture
Yeah.
capitalists, and this is huge opportunity. And normally many students around the country or around the world, they don't get that chance. They don't. For
Right.
sophomore students to be able to talk to a venture capitalist and to be able to talk to an industry veteran like David. And this, you can't get this with money. And then you learn from the meetings whether they are the true winners at the end of the pitch day. I always tell them they're the winners as soon as they made it to our incubator program. That's an experience that they're never going to able to forget. Whether they actually pursue, many of them, I think I would say 50-50. We are too early, right? But I really think a couple of them are not going to pursue, but the learning experience is going to stay with them. And winners definitely pursuing, not only with the money, the exposure that they get to both mentors. And we have many investors in our Mentors and Investors Club
Yeah.
that they're talking. So overall, this is really working exactly their business plan. I teach entrepreneurship class, right? Within 14 weeks, we're actually teaching them how to write a business plan and business model canvas. So they're applying what they learn, and it actually really completes the circle. That's what I'm
Yeah.
really excited. And I'm thankful to our dean, Dr. Graff. I always say this is the idea father. This would never happen if Nicholas didn't really
Right.
push the boundaries, found the funding, $1.5 million, really converted our entire seventh floor of our building to a co-working space. And I wish next time maybe we'll do a live from our incubator. This is really like we created like a mini Regis, mini WeWork for all of them. They can use that as an office. They can create a meeting space. And so they don't have to really rent an office in New York. This is their co-working space.
That's awesome. That is awesome. Maybe this is a question for both of you. David, what's your favorite part about being a mentor? And Richie, what's your favorite part about this whole process? I'll let you go first, Richie.
Oh, thanks. I throughout my career, I was fortunate enough to work for a startup company, an Israeli company, for 4 years. We were able to raise about $15 million. And when I left, we hired. So we really created an idea. We create a company from an idea. So what excites me is to create something that doesn't exist. And to create a company from an idea, that's extremely excited. And along the way, the learning process. And I mean, I have my MBA and my PhD. I always say my 4 years within startup, it's equal to an MBA plus PhD. All the experiences and meeting with investors. And I think most exciting thing for me to see the students' learning process and for them to apply what we teach them in business development classes and entrepreneurship classes and strategy classes. And then to see the pitch day, that just kind of like a dream come true. Again, whether they win or not, that whole experience, that's really exciting.
Yeah, I think for me, it's funny because we're starting this podcast. I've talked to some people and I said, I think the best compliments is when somebody says, that's a really good question. So you've kind of struck something with the guest. For me, through this process, it's been, when you talk to the students and they go, oh, wow, that's a really good idea. And then they start writing down, or they say, oh, I didn't think about that, or that's an interesting angle. So for me, that's where you feel the impact because you know that, unfortunately, we're the older guys on the podcast, but we've got the years of experience. So we've made the mistakes, and we know how things work. So for me, when I hear the students say that and start taking notes, or that's where I'm saying, well, okay, I'm making an impact because this is something that my 20 plus years of experience is going to cut down a mistake, going to eliminate them from making a mistake that they would have made if they hadn't had a conversation with me. So that's kind of what the cool part for me is.
And I worked with a startup at college too, and I'm just thinking how valuable this would have been for me growing up.
Yeah.
Like I would love to have a David Malili in my corner, maybe 15 years ago. That would be great. So I just think it's so cool with what you're doing. And I'm a huge fan. So I look forward to having many conversations about how things are going in the future as well.
Definitely.
So before we ask you to tell us who the Tisch Center Hospitality Innovation Hub winner is, we'd like to thank you, Steve and I from the Modern Hotelier, for allowing us to be part of this. Stay Flexi also thanks you. And I look forward to working with the next group of students in the fall. So with that, is there anything you'd like to share before you announce who the winner was? You can plug away anything at NYU, anything we should know about that's coming up with you personally or with the school.
Oh, thank you. First of all, thank you very much for this great opportunity. So we're trying to get as many applications as possible. So the programs like that hopefully will get us more applicants from our NYU community. So thank you for the opportunity. And then stay tuned. There are many more things are coming up. And we've just completed NYU Investment Conference in New York. That's one of our biggest events. And we are actually designing new classes. And I just came from Tel Aviv, NYU Tel Aviv, and where we actually teach student destination marketing on the spot. So there are a lot of exciting learning opportunities. And we're also working on Metaverse. That's a new upcoming event. Maybe we'll just do that in Metaverse next time. So I wonder how it would actually be. But I am actually trying to design a Metaverse class within, not about Metaverse, a destination marketing class in Metaverse, how we can enhance the learning. It's just really not a Zoom class. It is, we're all learning. As Einstein say, by the time you stop learning, you start dying. So we always want to actually keep on learning. So with that, stay tuned with our efforts at NYU. So this year we had great applicants, and the winner is Chixa. Andrea Garrido and Austin Neri are two students. They graduated from NYU. They were clear winners. So Chixa was the cocktail company. It's a ready to drink. I know it's a competitive industry, but the cocktails are made with all the natural ingredients with Mexican rum. And during the pitch day, they were able to bring samples. And I loved it. In fact, I'm going to be ordering that for my next party. And this is a low sugar, low calories, excellent flavors. So they were very well prepared and they were clear winner from all mentors and judges. And again, mentors and investors become judges during the pitch day. So the clear winner was Chixa, Andre and Austin. I congratulate them and I would love to see them grow and see their products in, places like Whole Foods and the many different retailers. And I think their dream is becoming true. So congratulations to all.
Great, thank you. Yeah.
Congratulations. Hello, Andrea. It's nice to meet you. How are you doing today?
Hi, Steve. I'm doing great. Thanks for inviting me.
Absolutely. We're happy to have you. Welcome to the show. So to kick things off, I'd like to know a little bit more about you. So where you're from, what your background is, anything like that.
Yes. I moved to the States when I was 12. I'm originally from Colombia. I was raised in Orlando and I've been living in New York for about 8 years.
Wow. How was that for a change from moving to Colombia to Orlando to now to New York?
Yeah, so it was Orlando. It was a great city to grow. I went to UCF as undergrad. Actually, my first job out of college was being an accountant analyst for SeaWorld. That was,
Wow.
I guess, my first step into the hospitality industry. As you know, Orlando is a big hospitality city. It revolves around hospitality. I decided I wanted to move more of my career into financial services. And in 2014, I just started selling everything. I said, I'm moving to New York, got a job at a bank. And here we are 8 years later.
And after you sold everything, you were able to afford like 1 month's rent with all that, right?
Everything.
New York?
Yes. Everything for sure. Penthouse.
Oh, that's awesome. And then now, since you're in New York, you've started a company called Chixa. Is that correct?
Yes, I started Chixa as of last year with my co-founder Austin, who he's not able to join. He apologized for this. He's currently at work. We met in September through the NYU Entrepreneurship Center, and we started working on this idea out of. I first kind of started having a frustration within the alcohol industry, the popularity of these drinks such as White Claw, Truly, and seeing these beverages pick up and promote the low calories, but then you look at the back of the label and the ingredients are actually not as good for you as you think. So being such a health conscious person myself, I just started to find ways to how could you drink healthier. And I just remember this old family recipe that was used that my mom taught me, that it was passed on from my grandma to my mom. And then the story is essentially how this was how indigenous tribes back in the day used to drink before the conquistadors came. So it was a very low alcohol beverage. It's made out of pineapple skins, water, unrefined sugar, ginger, and spices. And the ABV is so low, it's about 0.5%. So we were able to mix it with rum just to get that 4% level and put it into a cocktail. And then you have your first culture cocktail. That's how we want to call ourselves. And we're at 90 calories and only 10 grams of sugar.
Wow, that's awesome. And now you mentioned your co-founder. Was there something that, stuck out about Austin that you two really clicked to kind of be co-founders, or how did that happen?
I guess we both click. We first met through the entrepreneurial center, and it was the frustration. I kind of posted on a Slack through the NYU Entrepreneurship Center. Hi, I'm working on this idea for a low, ready to drink cocktail with all natural ingredients based on a South American recipe. It's known as tepache, and he's from Mexico. And this is actually a very popular drink on Mexico. You can find it at any corner street. They actually sell it in kind of like in a bag with a straw, and you just drink it to refresh yourself because
Wow.
so he's Mexican, and so it was kind of like, okay, he understood the product very well, and he was also frustrated with the options in the market today, and that's how we kind of bonded, and we've been working together ever since.
And this was the second pitch from the NYU incubator. Were you a little intimidated by joining it? I mean, coming in with a beverage, and a lot of times when you think of incubators, you think technology or an app or something. How was just the whole process, and was it intimidating when you first joined?
I would say not intimidating, but it was exciting because we have been having a bit of a hard time to find places where we can actually have the opportunity to voice out this idea and
Right.
and bring it, or like raise our voice, because a lot of investors today want to invest on the next big platform for, I don't know, NFTs or what's going to be the next iPhone app. And we're just
Right.
a beverage that we do have a website online, and we're planning to sell direct to consumer, but we're not per se a technology company. So that's not the first thing that investors are looking for. So we, more than, I wouldn't say intimidated, we were extremely excited for this door that just opened, and we gave it our all. We kind of prepare our pitch presentation as this was with a VC in San Francisco or New York or any investor that was we presented as we were gonna raise $1 million.
I've been, fortunate enough to be a mentor. I was not your mentor. I was with one of the other companies. You guys definitely had, I think, the best presentation visually and kind of the story. But I think it was a really smart move to give out samples of an alcoholic beverage in a competition. So I have to give you credit there. So maybe you can elaborate on who came up with that idea to give out the samples.
It was sort of, we do have an in-house chef that has helped us with the taste tasting. And I was having brunch with him, and he goes, "So Andrea, like, are you bringing samples?" And I just told him, "Well, I haven't even done my first run. Like, how am I going to bring samples?" And he's like, "Well, ask your lab. They're going to probably have that available for you." And we asked them, and yeah, they did. It was quite expensive, but at the end of the day, Austin and I made the decision that, when it's a consumer product, people want something that is tangible and that you can see it. Because then at the end of the day, it's like, what are you trying to sell me if you don't show it to me? This was kind of the thought that Austin and I had. And we were like, okay, let's do it. And well, it's a low ABV. Nobody's going to get drunk out of just a sip.
Yeah, it was funny because all of us who were remote were like, damn, we should have went to New York. What are we doing here?
We were asking how many people are attending. We were planning to get all the samples out. We brought even extra cups. But yeah, it seemed it all worked out. We brought just enough samples. So
That's awesome. That's awesome. So have you always wanted to own your own company, or have you always wanted to do a startup, or did this just kind of, the passion kind of met the career, and now here we are?
I would say yes. I have always wanted to own a startup. Did I ever see myself within the hospitality industry? No. The idea just started like about 3 years ago. I was just reading about the beverage industry, and I was thinking, well, I enjoy working out. I enjoy having a healthy lifestyle. What is one of the basic things that we need every day? Is like water. Okay, like I want to maybe start like a water company. So I started kind of reading about the beverage industry, and that's how I been studying it. But I didn't have a good idea until kind of the light bulb hit me. You sometimes try to complicate things, and they're like right in front of you, right? I just happened to remember, after reading for 3 years, essentially last year, I remember my mom's recipe and the story of how this drink is. And it was, okay, I have to do it.
Absolutely. And at that moment, was it like, I need to test out like how to make this drink and what to do? Is that kind of the next step?
Yes. So I started like having this idea around August, and then I just started like taste tasting with friends. This was before I met Austin. And then I just started doing it in my kitchen, very artisanal, very, hey, just try this, hope you don't die sort of thing.
Right.
I will try it myself too. So plenty of have not gone blind. So plenty of taste tasting myself. And after a month, I was able to get the exact like sugar levels that I wanted, the exact level of like what I could do it to the point that, this is the good taste and this is something that I could present to the market. And funny enough, as I was doing a taste tasting with friends at a bar in New York, it's a restaurant bar. It's called Ribalta. The manager walks out and he says, "What are you guys doing?" And my friend goes, "Oh, we're trying her beverage." And he goes, "May I try it?" And yeah, bring a cup. He was like, "This is great. Um, may I have a little bit and take it to my bartender?" And here we are now. They have been our customer since October. And
Wow.
they are using it as a mixer because
Yeah.
it has quite a unique different taste, and it's just like refreshing, and it's just like a new flavor that they can add to their cocktail line.
Sure.
So both you and Austin, have either of you done startups before? Have you ever done a startup, or has Austin done a
did
startup?
one, but it did not go well. I actually did a site on Rate Your Manager a long time ago. Long time ago. I guess back then I had just recently moved to New York, and it was just an idea that I have out of obviously a frustration. But then I didn't do enough research. I mean, now if I do it again, I would do it a little bit different now that I know about businesses and like how you need to do the approach, your test to market. I would have done more like tests within my friends. Would they even use this? Because one of the things I realized was not even my friends were going into the site. And it was because a lot of managers don't have that many direct reports. So you don't want to burn that bridge. So people are just afraid completely of just going out there and rate their manager. So I closed the company. I had it open for like 6 months. I was doing like a blog into like how to interview in order to get traction, like how to know who are you working for, how to test, like, because people don't know this, but like essentially when you're interviewing for a job, it's like you're going on a date, right? You want to know if they're a perfect fit for you and if you're a perfect fit for them. Sometimes you're so afraid of it to ask those questions that you just think that, oh, I'm just having the opportunity to interview and this is it. But I don't think you should think like that. And a lot of people early in their careers have that mindset. And that's when you make your mistakes of ending at the job that you don't want. So that was kind of my whole frustration. And I wanted to help with that. That was the one time that I actually did something and like created a company, did a startup, and that did not go well, as we know. And now I have dabbled into the beverage industry, and it's something that I'm falling in love every day. It is tough. It's not an easy route, but I do enjoy, in general, just hosting people, just talking to people. So I do think that this is a fit with me, with my personality. So, and Austin, on his end, he's actually an investor for a few beverage brands. So he has never done the startup route himself. So for him to actually take on this opportunity and join and be more hands-on, it's a bit different, but he does has experience into looking at brands and just investing. So
Awesome. I can imagine especially in the past like couple years, I feel like the alcoholic beverage space has even blown up even more. It's not just beer, wine, and liquor. It's your seltzers, your, everything else that's out there. What's been your biggest challenge so far? Has there been something that's come up where it's been really tough, but at the end was a really great learning lesson?
Yeah, funny enough, I mean, the biggest challenge, and I think, this is for any beverage within the alcohol space, will be distribution. Unfortunately, you need a distributor even if you're selling online. You need the right permission and you need to have that through a distributor. Otherwise, by law, you are not allowed to sell this directly. There's only 7 states that you're actually allowed to sell alcohol directly online without a distributor. But then, those 7 states are not going to be your whole market. New York is not one of them. So here we are. I would say that's our biggest challenge. Beverage overall it's a hard industry. And then you add the component of making those relationships with the distributors for them to take you on board. It's quite the challenge. So actually, we decided after our experience at the incubator that we wanted to take more ownership of our distribution. And we did have a non-alcoholic cocktail in the lines that we were going to launch after we were going to launch after we did the alcoholic route. But now we're thinking of doing the non-alcoholic first and then launching the alcohol later.
Gotcha. So that would build more brand awareness with the non-alcoholic, and then the alcoholic versions are going to come in later and more fun.
Yes. That's essentially what we're planning to do. Especially, we were already at low ABV, so we're hitting that no low market basically, and we also see this as an opportunity. People are drinking at home. Still, there's not good mixers out there. So this is an opportunity for people to have a mixer. This is how the bartender at Ribalta is using our drink, as a mixer. So we're going to create like a cocktail recipes for people to do online. So it's also a way for us to engage with not only make relationships with people in the industry, but also with consumers directly that want to just drink at home, stay at home, and make a fabulous cocktail. So
Absolutely.
that's what we're going to do in the next few months. And it's definitely going to speed our launch date.
Was there a moment during this process that you were like, maybe it was a win or something that happened where you're like, this is it. This is what I want to do. Like it kind of sold you on not only the industry, but the product. And you're like, this is what I want to go after.
Yes, I would say that validation I got from that manager that just saw us doing a taste test and walking out and saying, this is so different. What is it? Because obviously it's a different flavor. It tastes good, but nobody knows what's in it. It's like, what's in it? And that was a big validation, because it's just a complete outsider, not a friend that knows me and that's willing to try it, because I'm saying, hey, this is actually, you're not going to die from it. Like, this was just a complete outsider who decided to try it. And then he was like, hey, let me bring my bartender. That was my moment that I was up to something. And it gave me that fuel to keep going. And I would say the second validation was being able to present at the NYU Hospitality Incubator and being able to place first on a CPG brand. Like, I think, the other businesses were very great and they were more technology driven within the hospitality industry. So for us to be in like a beverage brand and being in the consumer space, that gives us a lot of the push that we're continue to go full force.
Yeah, one of the things I liked about your presentation, and if you can share with us your branding, maybe show us the can and maybe just talk us through how you came up with that branding. And I just thought it was beautiful from a visual. From seeing it, it was very. It awesome. It looked beautiful on the screen.
So this is a prototype. So we have this bird and the name Chixa, actually. So the name is it's just plain me with words. In South America, tepache is called chicha, actually. And I just didn't want when people would Google chicha to just confuse it. Tepache is more known here
Right.
in the States, given that, we're so close to Mexico. So I decided to have Chixa because it does keeps that essence of South America. And we're calling it, this flavor is the pineapple. So is Chixa rum tepache cocktail.
What are the other two flavors?
We
Didn't you have
do.
two
We
others I
have
think you presented?
mango and guava. We developed 3 flavors. So we are using essentially flavors that are very unique. Obviously, people in the States are very familiar with pineapple. This is the guava is actually a pink guava. So that fruit is more from South America. So we're trying to also keep kind of bringing bold flavors into the market because consumers just want to try different things these days and they're open to things that are healthy, and we just want to be that different brand that just introduces something with a new lifestyle. And yeah.
Well, once I can get it in Phoenix, that's what will be in my cup when I do the podcast. So just a little heads up. If you see a podcast in a couple months,
Yeah, no,
probably have your
I'll
product
send
in
you
there.
samples as soon as we do our first run, which we're hoping it's going to be in August.
Awesome. Do you think this is going to be like a newer trend that we're going to see these drinks that maybe, obviously you're familiar with this, but like me being from Wisconsin, probably not as much, Are we going to see these trends as more of like these international drinks making their presence in the United States and kind of building up different types of drinks like this, you think?
I think you will. I mean, the population, obviously Hispanic population, it's one of the highest growing. So I think you will. And the fact that Mexican food, even if you live in Wisconsin or Kansas, everybody enjoys Mexican food. Everybody loves good tacos. So I do think you're going to see more this within the next years of people wanting to try new brands. I mean, one of my big first validations, which I would say was when I had the aha moment, was when I went onto YouTube and I just typed in tepache. You see renowned chefs in the US making their tepache in the kitchen to just make cocktails. Or so this is kind of what gave me that aha moment. And funny enough, our co-packer, when I was telling him what I wanted to do, he was like, "Oh, I just made some at home the other day, and I actually added rum."
That's funny.
So
That's so fun. Do you only add rum, or can you add different alcohols as
So
well?
this is one other reason we decided to start with our non-alcoholic launch, because it goes well with tequila, vodka, rum, pisco. So it's good flavors that mix well. They blend well with alcohol. And actually, the good thing about this beverage, the tepache, is that once you mix it with any alcohol, you don't feel that strong alcohol flavor. So, I mean, you might end up drinking more than you want to, but
yeah, that's great. That's great.
Well, the warning is here. We got it.
So I guess, for us kind of in closing, what's next for Chixa? Like, what are you guys, when you've given us a little bit of the idea of, going for more of the mixer than the alcoholic beverage, but what else, where do you see it? I know people ask that question, where do you see yourself or your company in 2-3 years, but what's next for you guys, for you in Austin?
So next for Austin and I, we're finishing our seed round, and so open for conversations, guys.
Sure.
If you know someone, and we're gonna do our first run in August, and then we're planning to launch our non-alcohol version to sell directly to consumers in August. And then start a conversation with an alcohol company that we can partner up to do the rum one. Because we do see right now, I mean, if you look at all these new seltzers that are putting alcohol, they're all tequila based. And I mean, the one dominating the vodka space is High Noon. I would say tequila, Onda. I don't know if you guys have heard of it, but there's not a rum right now dominating that portion. And there are some big rum fans out there. So we don't want to let those feel disappointed that their demands are not being met. So we do have the recipe for the rum, and we're planning to launch that too within the
I
next
definitely have to
2
connect
years.
you to
So
food and beverage guy in Los Angeles. I'll do that offline. But so this is really, we're kind of at the end. We really appreciate it. We really want to congratulate you, but we also want to give you a moment to plug away. Tell us how we get updated. Where should we be looking to find out more information? Anything you wanted to tell us that we didn't cover today?
well, to keep on the loop, we do have a site, Chixa.com. We do have our Instagram. Right now we're finishing our branding. So that's kind of what we're gonna do actually all of June. We're gonna start doing the photo shoot and being more active in social media. And we're gonna start handing out new recipes for cocktails. So keep you guys updated on that. Great cocktail menu will be sent
Great.
out to you guys, and we'll make you part of our mailing list.
Steve and I have already talked about, you need taste testers, anything,
awesome.
Anything with alcohol in it. Steve
Yep.
and I, have agreed that we'll do it. We know it's going to be difficult, but we'll actually, help in that department. But again, congratulations. Like I said, I really thought you guys, you deserve the victory, as they say. I think you guys really did a great presentation. If there's any way Steve and I can help in the future, please let us know. But that is the end of this episode of The Modern Hotelier, presented by Stay Flexi. We thank you for joining us, and we hope to see you soon.
You made it to the end of The Modern Hotelier. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe below. The Modern Hotelier is produced by Make More Media and presented by Stay Flexi. Stay Flexi is your modern operating system for independent hotels. If you'd like to learn more, feel free to go to stayflexi.com, or if you'd rather talk to me, message me on LinkedIn or shoot me an email at Steve.Carran@stayflexi.com. Thanks and have a great day.